Good morning, everybody. Um, all right, I have to apologize. I had so much to do this week. I really didn't have time to, I'm sorry, I couldn't do Fab Fit Friday yesterday because I am trying to fold and organize 23 different patterns to bring with me to the Fabric Fiber Craft Show next weekend in Illinois, Rosemont, Illinois. And basically, when I planned these trips, it didn't click with me until, like a week ago that I needed to leave from my bodice fitting class on Wednesday in Pennsylvania to drive to Illinois. So I thought I was going to have a day to come back and pack everything and head off to the show. But I want to get there on Thursday. So that kind of put a little crimp in things. And then I tried a different way to print my patterns because I'm rebranding the covers and I'm very excited about that. I'm having some coffee still. All right, so I'm going to show you some of my rebranded patterns, and I'm really, really excited about this because I've been talking about rebranding for years now. If you follow along with me, you know that this has been it's been on my list for a long time, and it keeps dropping off the back of my list because I'm busy doing something else. So what I want to do here is just switch my view. Oops, get this over here. And I'm going to show you some things. And then I'm going to talk about my, the shirt I want to bring with me. So I had made a princess seam shirt out of one of my drafts. And I want to make sure that, I want to show you how I'm going to try to finish that to bring with me on this trip. So that's what we're doing today. And what I'm going to do is make sure you can see that let me make sure this is, actually I can just, all right, I'm just going to slide these over. You guys are the first ones to see my new pattern covers. This is going to be really exciting. So this is why I've been so busy. I've been working on these new covers. If you have any of my patterns, in your stash, you may notice that my covers are all different. For example, I have some old covers. So here's my yoga pants, and here's my Sourcia Classic Swim trousers. You can clearly see that that is not good branding because they don't look the same. So what I decided to do is make make these new covers, and they're all going to match. So I'm very excited about this. Oh, good morning, Diane. Good morning, Victoria. Thank you for waking up early with me. I know this is not ideal time for a Fab Fit Friday, but I'm really excited. Oh, buongiorno! Thank you for coming, Sylvan. Thank you. All right, so this is my new T twin set cover. So the idea here is I'm going to have consistent branding on my cover. So there's going to be a picture of how the garment looks on a person. Then there's going to be flats so you can see all the style lines. And then if there's variations, like for example, the back of my cardi on my T twin set can either be straight across or it can dip up like this. So that's what that one looks like. This is my pull-on pants featuring my own behind. The Anna dress with my daughter Anna on the cover. Oops. Gym tank. Hey Kathy, welcome. Yoga pants. I put an action shot in this one for fun. And this is a raglan sleeve top, and this is one of my students from one of my classes. And here's my mom on the women's tee. And then I have a student picture for my Mrs. T. Oh, there's another gym tank. Skort and simple. Oh, I can't read Italian. but I love it that you're here. Mrs. Jeans, Stretch Jeans. Oh, there's another Anna dress. Oh, look at this one. This has got my shirt jacket with my daughter and my dad. This is a unisex pattern. Shorts for everybody. And then I have the Sorcia Classic Slim trousers. And I have the same picture on here because I need to get more pictures. These are not my final covers. These are sort of place keepers until I get the final. But I just wanted to share this with you. Hello! Oh my goodness, this must be a good, better time for some of my out of the United States, out of my United States people. Thank you for coming. Hey, RT Blades, welcome. All right, so now what I want to do is show you my shirt. Now, I was hoping to have this finished for my trip, and basically, it's all finished except for the neckline, the hem, the button placket, and the sleeve. Okay, so I'm thinking of finishing this, and I just want to show you one of my, hey Becky, and Mr. Flom from Australia. Oh, wait a minute. From Australia, I have some breaking news. I am going to be, oh, you know what? I'm not going to say it yet, but I don't know if it's public yet. So never mind. I'm not going to make it a breaking I'm not going to break any breaking news announcements yet, but something exciting is coming. So stay tuned for that. All right. Sorry. I got all excited for 1 second. All right. Let me see. All right. So let me get back to this. I'm sorry. I'm tired, and you can see I haven't even had all my coffee yet. Okay. Here's what happened. And I think I told you guys this happened when I showed this shirt, you know, in a past Fab Fit Friday. Oh, Loretta's dying from anticipation. All right, well, stay tuned. I promise I will fill you in as soon as I can. I'm sorry, I got excited there for 1 second. All right, so see what's happening here. I'm going to zoom in on this neckline. What happened is I did not add seam allowances to my princess seam edges here and here before I sewed them together. I forgot. And so what happened was I carefully sewed all French seams. Look how beautiful these seams are. All French seams. Everything was French seamed. And then I went to put the shoulders together, and my front shoulder was an inch smaller than my back shoulder. I almost had a heart attack. But it worked out that the shirt still fit me. I think it's because I added so much ease when I was doing my, final adjustments. I added ease to the front. And I think it would have worked out that if I had added the seam allowances here, I would have had to take them in. So this was a happy accident. But what ended up happening is now my back shoulder is a ½ an inch longer than my front. So now my front is not close enough to my neck to do a collar stand and collar. Oh, RT Blaine said, you've got everyone excited? Well, I'm excited, and I'm telling you that I will, as soon as I can announce it, I will. I'm sorry. I have so many things on my mind. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to plan the rest of my day. I have so many things to pack before I leave, so I'm a little bit today. So thank you for coming, and just ignore my little outbursts when I'm saying something untimely. Okay, so you can see it better like this, like if I show you like this, right? So I'm going to try to fix this now. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, also, I made a rookie mistake. Let me tell you the rookie mistake I made. Okay. Oh, hold on 1 second. I also have to pick my husband up from the airport, so let me just talk to him for 1 second. Hi, honey, you're live on my live stream that I rescheduled from yesterday. I love you too. Bye-bye. Okay, so now I know what time I have to pick him up from the airport. I have a lot going on today. All right, so what I want to show you here is, this is the draft that I made into a princess seam to make this shirt. So what I did was I rotated half of the bust dart up here, half of the bust dart down here, and then I cut it apart and made the princess seam. But what I forgot to do is I added ease. I raised the bust dart. I took off an inch from my bust cup, and I added the built-in placket, and I made a shirt tail hem. Well, then I cut the pieces into princess seam pieces. So this is what the princess seam pieces look like. Okay, and you can see I added all this ease. This pink is ease that I added. So basically, this was my newly fitted shirt. I didn't make a copy. So what I had to do was re-engineer it, or engineer it backwards, and put in the, like put the darts back. So the way I figured that out was I traced my front, and then what I did was I measured my dart intake up here from my, the previous version, and then I rotated, or I cut this here and I rotated it back to put that back, and then I rotated the rest of this back to, I rotated the rest back up here to get the shape back. So basically this is this, but I had to reverse engineer it, or reverse draft it, to get it back because I forgot to make a copy. So the reason why I'm telling you that is because I now want to change my neckline, right? But I don't want to ruin the round neck for the next time I make a shirt and I remember to add the seam allowances, or I'm sure it fits. So I'm going to design my new neckline on here. So that's what I'm going to share with you right now. Oh, RT Blades wants to know what these are. These are the most wonderful pattern weights you could ask for, because they don't roll off the table. They're clear, and I have 3 different lengths like this, so they're good for bigger things. These were actually lucite bars that were part of our Giorgio Armani sunglass display at a jewelry store that went out of business. And if I had known how great these were, I would have taken all of them. I took one of each size. I could have taken them all. I didn't realize, but they used to say Giorgio Armani, on one of the surfaces, but they rubbed off. But I love these. So these are my fancy eyeglass case display lucite bars that I use for pattern weights. All right, so getting back to this, I'm going to be designing my new neckline, and instead of making the mistake I made by just cutting apart the neckline on my princess seam pattern, I traced the neckline and shoulder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold back this back shoulder like this on the seam allowance. And then I'm going to put it together with my front like this. Let me just get this so it's... Okay, like that. And then I can use some of my Sew Tight magnets to hold the neckline together. So what I need to do now is, since I can't finish this with a collar, I want to make it into a more open neckline. And I have this idea to leave it sort of close to the neck, and to give it some style, or to give it some shaping, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to I was thinking what I might want to do. Let me just first draw in the button placket. So my button placket is here. Okay, so that's where it will overlap, right here. This is button placket right there. So I'm thinking what I might do is maybe I'll measure out, let's say 2.5 inches to here. And what I'm thinking I might want to do is create a neckline that comes around, but then it sort of drops, meaning it comes down and it's like a little bit lower. So like if I make it maybe, let's say 3/4 of an inch lower, like that, and then I can have it be 3/4 of an inch lower, like this. So almost like I'm cutting out a notch. So the neckline would go like this, then it would be lower, and then it would come back up. That's what I'm kind of thinking I want to try. Let me just look at this front for a second. So like if I were to, let's say I were to come down, maybe just, it's a little bit too much, maybe this much, just a little bit. I think that'll be too much. And then if I connect it like this, well, I'm going to draw this, I'm going to draw it like this for a second, and then well, or maybe I can just cut off this part of the seam allowance and just have, I'll just cut this off. I was trying to make a straight, but the neckline curves. So what if I just cut off, I'm just going to try it. I mean, I can always make another template if I don't like the way this looks. I'm just going to cut this off like this. So if I cut it like this, and then this would stay, if I put this back like this. Okay, so let me just put the back neckline back on here. So it would come down, up, and then it would continue like that. I think that might be a cool design. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be almost like a notch, almost like just a little bit lower across the front neckline. Now, because it's a button-down shirt, though, let me bring it back over here. So let me just see here. I'm going to, all right, so the first thing I'm going to do to this shirt is, obviously, I have to fix the neckline. Oh, Victoria has a dress she cut out in the shoulders are a mess. Oh no, I'm sorry. I hate when that happens, like when you're working on something and it gets screwed up. All right, I'm going to use my, let's see if I can use my friction pen. Where that friction pen go? All right, not red though, let me use a different color. I'm going to use blue. Let me see if you can see this. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to just draw across my back like this, because I need to even out the neckline. And then I'm just going to cut it to match the front like this. So I'm getting rid of the extra that I have along the back neckline. Okay. And then let's look at this front here. So I'm just going to do it on here now that I kind of planned it. So here is my front neckline. Hey Barbara, welcome. Good morning. Let's mark this and see how this is going to work. If I cut off a half an inch here, oops, where did my blue pen go? Oh my goodness, where was I using this pencil? Oh, I guess I was using this pencil. That's fine. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut off a half an inch, or I'm going to mark a half an inch here. No, I was definitely using a pen. Where did that pen go? Did I drop it? Okay, so I'm just going to draw a half an inch line right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to continue it like this. Let's say maybe to here. So if I cut this little notch out that I drew, I think that'll just give it some interesting shaping. And what I'll do is I'll make a facing to finish it. I don't have a lot of time to fuss around, so I'm just going to do it. Now, if this doesn't come out lovely, it was an experiment, but I feel like this just adds some interest to a plain, curved collar. So see how that's going to be now? It's just going to come down, and then it's just going to be a little lower across the center front. Oh, Carla is saying, can you lay your pattern onto see what you are cutting? I could have, but this is pretty. See, this is pretty basic. See, I'm just reproducing this right here. This little cutout. Whoops, a minute. This little cutout right here. It's a pretty simple. Look, I didn't even measure, but look how close that is. I went a little farther. I was off by like a little bit. So I was pretty accurate with what I drew on this paper on the fabric because it was a simple kind of thing. To make sure they both match, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin my center fronts together. Or maybe I can just lay them down here. Hold on one second. I'm going to line up my shoulders like this. And let's clip those together. Because I want to make sure I stop at the same spot. So see, now I can see that this side so that half inch is going to stop right here. There's my half an inch, and then I don't need to have it folded anymore. Now I'm not going to, obviously I'm not going to French seam my armholes. I'm just going to serge those. If you're wondering why that's still raw, I didn't finish that yet. Yes, this is linen fabric. I got this from Fabric Mart a couple summers ago, actually. I've been saving it. It's really nice fabric. All right, so now I'm going to cut this off, and I'm just going to transfer this to the right side, I think. I can see where it is right here. All right, let's just transfer this to the right side. And then I'm just going to cut off the half an inch here too. like that. I'm going to cut it off. Okay, and then I realized there is a little error or a little thing to consider here because I didn't use the paper pattern to cut it out. Now I have to make a facing that matches this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to put this right here. And remember I said I was a little quarter off. So this has to extend to here. So this little bit so now this is going to be my actual pattern. And then to make a facing, I guess I can cut this off now. Okay, so here's my neckline. I made it match. Let's just double check it. Now you guys know this is not the ideal way to do this kind of work, right? You would have this all planned before you, actually did it. But you can see my cutout matches perfectly. And then the shape of this neckline isn't matching because this, I pulled this way because I lost that ½ inch. So I think what I'm going to do for this shirt is I'm just going to do this. And it also looks like, I don't even know how this could be possible. I'm just going to be honest with you. But my seam allowance is hanging off the edge. See that? It's hanging off. So I'm really not sure how that happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the seam allowance back in. Or I'm just going to add, because I want to make sure that when I make this facing it fits. And I'm not going to French seam the facing I'm not going to French seam the shoulder facing. I'm just going to sew it. So I'll adjust at the shoulder to get it to fit. But it's looking like I need another ½ inch here because the actual seam line ended at the end. So I'm just going to do this, which will bring the shape. It's taking off the ½ inch that I missed when I didn't add to the princess seam. All right, so that's going to be my neckline, like this. There's my front. And then my back, I didn't do anything to the back, but let's just verify the back is still. Oh no, I did. I cut it off. So I have to cut it. So basically, yeah, so see how this one's ahead. This is longer now. What would be like this, really? Well, because I cut it off. So really, I have to cut off what I cut off. Now, where's where I cut off? Here's where I cut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut this off like this. Let me use this side, actually. So let me just use my sew tights, whoops, to hold this right like this. So I'm just going to mark. Okay, so it just follows there. All right, so this is what I had to cut off to get it to fit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a narrow facing, and I'm going to add to the back shoulder too, because if it's not the right length, I'll just take it in. because I just want to make sure I have enough. I think I'll be okay along the straightaway in here. I think I'm also going to add, because I have a center back seam, I'm just going to add a little bit here, like 3/8. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I didn't, cut this out with the pattern, and I just want to make sure I have enough length when I sew it together, and I can take it in if it's too big. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to design a narrow, I'm just going to have it be like, I don't know, 2 inches, I guess. It'll be 1.5 inches finished. I'll decide how I'm going to finish it once I get it on there. But basically, here's my 2-inch facing, like this. So this is going to be my facing. So this is how you create a facing. Oops, that's a little bit bright. And I'm just going to cut this now. Now you can see why I didn't want to cut my actual pattern. Now I've got my back one, and then my front will be here. 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and then it jumps down here to 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and then right here, whoops, wait a minute, this is my 2 inches is here. And then it jumps. Okay, this is 2 inches is here. 2 inches. And then so it kind of jumps here, so then it goes to here. Well, actually, I don't know if I need to really, I don't think I need to make this shape down here. I'm trying to make it match. It does not need to match. I feel like that's a little bit annoying, so I'm just going to make a smooth transition from here to here. I'm going to do it like this. And then we'll just have it be straight like that. Okay, so there's my front facing. Now I want to make sure, before I cut the front, that the shoulders match. So see, when I sew them together. Okay, so there's my facing. That's how I'm going to finish the neckline. And let me see, what time is it? It's now, it's almost 9 o'clock. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut these pieces out. And let's see what we have. All right, I'm also going to cut I'm going to cut them off. Okay, wait a minute. This is the folded side of the button placket, so I need a seam allowance here. So let me just add a seam allowance right here. So that's my 1/2 seam allowance there. All right. All right, I'm going to cut these out, and I'm just going to see, we're just going to lay them on and see if they match. That's what we're going to do. Okay. I have my extra fabric. Hold one moment. Okay. All right, I'm just going to cut these out and let's just see what we have. Actually, I'm just going to use one side here like this. You know what? Before I cut it out of the linen, I'm going to cut it out of interfacing first. And then we'll just check the interfacing. Let's do that. It'll be easier for me to deal with this. So let's just cut out one of each for now. Center front, center back. I'm just using my center front and my center back as grain lines. So I just want to see if this is going to work before I cut out the linen. Okay, let me just cut these out. I mean, I'm going to need them anyway. Oh, you know what? Then I can perfect the length of the collar, the facing. Oops. Okay, let's just see what this is going to be. Cut this little notch out. Okay, let me just cut this. Okay, this will allow me to test it before I cut my fabric. Just move that out of the way. Okay, and I want to pin it. So now let's just see here. If I okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to pin them to my neckline and see. So here is my center back. So I'm going to mark on here the center back seam that I need. I added an inch, so I'm going to mark an inch here. Let's just see if that works. So I'm going to put an inch right here. So I'm matching it here. Hey Elizabeth, hello from England. Oh, you're enjoying watching my working. This is me trying to finish my shirt before my trip. I'm teaching bodice fitting and I have a booth at the Fabric Fiber Craft Show next weekend in Illinois. So I'm just trying to finish the shirt. So I wanted to come on with you. I didn't come yesterday at my normal time because I was folding patterns. All right, so see, this is why I'm happy I left extra here and I have extra here because now I need to let this out a little bit to reach the shoulder. So I'm going to make this 3/4 of an inch in the back. You know, and as long as I know what my final answer is, I can mark that and then also, see, that's going to work out perfect because I also have extra there. So let me just, I'm just going to pin this right here. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pin this front like a 1/2 inch behind, and you know, going a 1/2 inch past because I had to do the seam allowance. See, my notch matches perfectly, see? So that's nice. Like that, and then I can pin these together at the seam. Oh, you know what? I need a little bit more front shoulder. Actually, I don't, because I am not French seaming anything. So I don't need a big seam allowance here. So I have a 1/2 inch right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pin these right on the seam. And look at that, worked out to be pretty darn close. So see, I had an extra 1/8 in the back, and I have a 1/2 inch in the front. So that works out wonderful. And I have 3/4. Actually, it's not even 3/4. I'm going to make a note. This is where my center back seam is, right there. So I have a 1/2 inch there. I have a 1/2 inch on the shoulder, and I have my 1/2 inch over here. So now I know this is going to fit together. So yay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off. Actually, that's that much. So I have 5/8 down my center back, 1/2 inch on my shoulder, and I'm going to cut off this extra little bit right here in the back shoulder. Oops. Okay, and I'm also going to cut off just that little bit on my back shoulder here so I don't forget. Like that. All right, so now my pattern is good. I know I have, and I can just make a note here, I have a 5/8 inch seam allowance at center back, 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and 1/2 inch here. So I did it, yay! So now it all matches, and now I can cut out, you know, another set of interfacing and another set of, and I can cut out my fabric and I can sew it together. So that's how I'm going to finish this shirt. So yay. I'm going to keep going for a minute here. I'm going to dip my iron, my wonderful Oliso TG 1600 Pro iron that I am in love with. I'm going to plug that puppy in. See, did you see how the feet came up? I love that. All right, and then I have a little pressing station down here, so I'm going to put her down there for now. And then while that's heating up, let's cut out 2 more interfacings. So I'm going to put glue side together here, so I can just cut out 2 more interfacings. This is my cotton fuse interfacing, so it's 100% cotton, and it's you know, I really like this interfacing. It's also easy to work with because it doesn't shift around like some of those nylon tricot kind of things. Okay, now I'm just going to cut out a second set of these. There's my back. Here's my front. The glue kind of sticks together so it keeps it from shifting around mostly. Okay. Okay. This little doodad off right here. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something a little unconventional here because I'm tired and I don't want to fight with my linen. I'm going to get my little pressing thing. And I'm going to get my linen like this. And obviously the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press my linen. So it's nice and flat. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fuse these on, and then I'll cut them out. That's what I'm going to do. I think these are both facing the same way, Jennifer. Maybe not. Okay, so there are my things. And so now I'm just gonna fuse them. And then I can very easily cut them out. Yay! Actually, this one needs to be like this. My striated green is over here. All right, this one's a little bit wayward over here. This is my center front. Needs to be on the straight like this. Okay. All right. Fabulous. Now, I can cut these little puppies out. Maybe I'll use my fancy Kai scissors that I never use for cutting. It'll help with these notches to have scissors. So I can easily just get in there and do that. Here's one. Now I can get over here and cut this one out. And actually, I'm looking to get rid of this big honking piece of fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut over here. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut here. And then I'm going to cut here. And then I can break free of this big piece of fabric. Okay, so there is halfway. All right, last one, yay. This is the same interfacing I used to interface my button placket. Okay. All right. All done with that stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to sew together my pieces. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to sew these pieces together. And the reason why I want to get all this done at the same time is because I didn't stay stitch my, I didn't like stay stitch the neckline after I changed the shape of it. So I don't want my neckline to get stretched out. So I just want to get this facing on right now. I just have to rethread my machine. Happily, I have the red thread still on here. Does your machine ever come unthreaded while you're not watching? I left it threaded and now it's unthreaded. Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, so I've got my thread. Now let's just sew these together. So the way I'm going to start is let's sew center backs together. And I've got my mark where it needs to match up, which is nice. So I'm just going to sew right here. Wait a minute, let me get these exactly. Okay. All right, now I'm just going to sew here. Okay, and what I'll do with this is I'll press this open. So there's my center back. And now what I'm going to do, like I can even start finger pressing it, see? But I'll hit that with the iron in a minute. Now I'm going to do my sides with my sides. Oops. This side goes with this side. I can just put one clip here. And then this one goes with this one. So now I'm going to sew these at a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to sew this one. Half an inch. Okay, so now I have the issue of, let's give this a nice press first. Oh, I think I need to put this down so I can give this a nice press. I'm going to press all the seam allowances open. See my center back. Diane says this is free range designing. This is absolutely free range designing. I'm literally was thinking about this all night, like how I was going to finish this neckline without a collar. And then I thought to myself, let's make it a little different than just making a round neck. So I hope this looks nice. Oops. But I like that free range designing. I like that. Okay. All right, so there, that takes care of that little issue. Now, my next issue is, obviously, if this is my, you know, this is my facing, the other issue is I need to finish these edges. And I really don't want to fuss with turning the edge under. I really don't want to do that, to be honest. So I think I'm just going to run it with the serger. I'm just going to run it on the serger, but I'm going to do it after I sew it onto the neckline because, like I said, I just want to get that neckline finished so I'm not stretching it out. So let's just, and also I have black thread on my serger, so I'm not going to take the time to change it to red now, but I just want to make sure it fits, and let's just see how it looks. We can do all of that without finishing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm lining up. Hold on, let me just see what I'm showing you guys. Let me get this a little bit better. There we go, that's a little better. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to attach it so the seam allowance matches right there. And I'm going to clip 2 clips here because I press the seam allowances open. So I'm holding it like that. Then I'm going to, oh, look at me. Look at me clipping my center back to my shoulder. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Now center back. Let's do that again. Sorry. Like this. All right. Now I can do the shoulders. Oh, I gotta line it up with this. Sorry. Okay, I lined it up with the outside of the flat felled seam or the French seam. All right, why isn't this matching now? This side matches. This side matches perfectly. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe I stretched it. Let me see, does this match? This matches. All right, I haven't finished the button placket yet. I'm just basting this on to see if it looks nice, basically. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going to leave that like that for now. We're just going to baste it on because I have to finish the button placket before I can put the collar on. Now, for some reason, let's just see what my problem is on this side. I'm going to line this up so my front matches. But on this side, look what's happening. I have a little bit of a difference going on here, and I'm really not sure why that is. But look at, I have to take this out and re-sew it. This is really going free range now, Diane. Oh, and then Victoria's saying, I've enjoyed this, but I have to leave. Time to go for morning walk. Enjoy our vacation day. Leave Friday to go back to Virginia. Have a wonderful weekend, Victoria. Thank you for stopping in, and have a nice walk. All right. Let me just take this out here. I'm going to be signing off pretty soon, too. I have to get to my next little jobber before I pick up my husband from the airport. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, that's really weird. Look at that. I wonder if, well, I don't know how that happened, but it fits. My shirt fits, but apparently it's lopsided. I don't know what's going on here, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-sew this. I'm going to have to take off a 1/2 inch on this side. And I'm really not sure why. But this falls under mysteries of sewing. All right, so now I'm going to sew it here. So for some reason, this back neckline is shorter than my other back neckline or something, because I have to sew it here. So I'm going to fix that, and then I'll finish pinning it on. All right, well, that was fun. All right, so let's just sew this. Diane, you love watching this? This is me unfiltered. This is real life sewing with J Stern Designs. If anyone wonders if, people who are in the sewing business have sewing issues, I don't know about anybody else, but I know that I do on the regular. I just, oh, look, I came unthreaded. See what I'm talking about? My machine completely came unthreaded. That is crazy. Maybe when I put it down, I pulled the needle thread out somehow. Honestly. Oh, you enjoyed the pants fitting. There is a whole series that goes along with this blouse. I started with one of the drafts that I did when I was showing drafting for bodice. And I'm really excited about this top. I love it. I don't normally wear button-down shirts, so I really don't have any. And it's weird to me that I teach shirt fitting and I don't have shirts to wear while I'm teaching, because I just don't like button-down shirts. So I decided that I just need to make some button-down shirts to teach in. So there you go. That's why I'm trying to finish this before my trip so I can wear it. Oops. All right, so I'm re-sewing this. I guess I can't complain that this happened, because if it had been the reverse problem, and it was too short, then I would have had to cut new ones. So at least, I could work with the pieces I cut. All right, I'm just going to carefully put this down and hopefully not unthread the machine. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this to match. Now let's pin it on and finish pinning it on. That's weird. That is weird. All right, so I'm just going to put this right here. Look, it's still a little big. This is annoying. This is starting to annoy me now. All right, I'm just going to baste it on and see how it looks. I basically just want to see if I like the shape of this neckline with the edge finished down. So let me just baste this on. And let's see what we have here. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to use a big stitch because I'm going to take this back out after. So I can finish the button placket first. I'm also going to pin my button placket down so it doesn't move. All right, let's just see if we like this. Oh, I can already tell one other thing that's going to be a problem on checking this is I don't want to cut the notch until I'm sure. I'm going to put this on 5 for a stitch length because I'm just going to baste it. Let's make this so we can see what I'm doing here. Okay. I'm just going to baste it on. So here, so this needs to basically be like to here, right? Oh, and then I have to go a ½ inch past there. Let me eyeball it. That's about a ½ inch. Then I have to turn this way and go up the ½ inch. And then I'm back over here. Sew this, and then I'm going to sew this. I'm going to remove these. And then I'm going to sew this. Oops. So again, we're going to be stopping about here so I could go down to here. So I could go like this, right? Oops. See? So I'm going to go to about there. And then I'm going to go down here. And then I'm going to go like this. I mean, I guess I'm committed to this now that I've cut it, right? So the reason why I say that is because now, in order for me to see what it looks like in the front, I'm going to have to clip into this. So I'm going to do it, and then if I like it, I'm just going to take it out to here to finish the button placket, if that makes sense. Now we need a little bit more light. Make sure this is really sharp. Okay, so I'm just going to clip in there like this. Boop. Yeah, I'm just going to clip there, and I'm going to clip here for now. So now I can press it. And I'm just going to press it gently. I'm not going to like kill it with the pressing, but I just want to see, because I also want to understitch, but basically this is me just trying to see if I like the shape, which I guess at this point is a moot point because it's done, like I did it. I just want to press this up. Oh, I probably have to clip that corner too. Let me just give it a little I just want to encourage it to go towards the inside here. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Okay, so I also have to cut these. Well, I'm committed now. I cut this right off. Unless I want to make it a big scoop neckline, this is what's happening. All right, I just want to see if I like this. Diane's holding her breath. This is an issue I have had many times. Oh, Mary, sewing is issues. I think if you don't have issues when you're sewing, then I feel like you're in safety land. I think the only time you have issues in sewing is when you venture out into trying different things, or because if you stick with your tried and true, you have much less issues. But I don't like to do that. I like to shake it up. And of course, sometimes I sew my tried and true things and I still have an issue. So I guess I don't even think that's correct in what I'm saying. I think, things happen when you sew. I think fabric is a live being almost, where sometimes it'll decide to do what it wants. All right, so what I'm going to do to show this to you guys is I'm going to put it on my dress form. Oh, Barbara says, me too, Diane. Don't hold your breath. I'm working as fast as I can. I don't want anyone to pass out. So I'm just going to put this on my DittoForm so we can see how it lays. Now, if you guys, I know if you follow along with me, you know I love my DittoForm, and it is so close to my shape, it's not funny. Like, it's literally a body double for me. So I can put this on there, and it'll look just like it looks. So let's put it on. We're going to look at it together. Oh, yep, the issues are part of the fun of sewing. Just keep the mind active. Well, yes, except if you're trying to get something done, like in the nick of time, issues are annoying. All right, let me get my girl over here. All right, I'm going to unveil it. This is you guys' I guess your little perk for waking up early with me, especially like if you're not on the East Coast. I feel bad for my West Coast friends, but I had to come on early. So let me just see. I'm going to get this in the back first. Then I'm going to swing it around to the front. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to like it. All right, now that it's on there, now that I have it on my DittoForm, I'm going to take the clips off so we can really see, especially in the front. So if I overlap this, look, don't you think that just adds just a little bit of interest to an uncollared shirt? See? I like it. I think that's going to be really nice. All right, so now I'm really excited to finish it because I really like this. Hey, can you guys see? I'm just going to stick a pin right here to keep it shut. Yeah, I think that's going to be nifty. See? All right, so I am super excited. So I've created a different option out of a mistake of not adding seam allowances here, but you can see it fits me beautifully. I mean, it fits me just like this. So very excited about this. I'm going to finish this. Now I'm going to make little facings for the cuff, for the sleeves. And this is a darted sleeve. You cannot pull the sleeve up. Like you can't roll your sleeves up on this one. This is a very fitted sleeve at the wrist. So I'm just going to do a little facing here. And then when I do the button placket, I'll turn the hem up. And that's how that'll get finished. So there we go. I'm very excited about it. Yay! All right, so I'm going to finish that later. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on a special edition of Fab Fit Friday live on Saturday. And I'm going to continue packing. So, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go to a sewing event at like a show and you walk by all these vendor booths, I just want to stop and say and remind everybody that it's a lot of work. Like I forgot how much work it is. I haven't done a big show where I'm just showing, like I'm just there in my booth, sharing all my patterns, sharing what I have to sell. I'm not teaching, and I haven't done a show like that in such a long time. And I think I forgot how much work it is to make sure you bring everything to create a pop-up shop in your booth. So if you, the next time you go to a nice big sewing show, you know, stop at all your favorite, stop at all your favorite vendors and, you know, maybe just tell them you appreciate the effort it takes to bring all the stuff to you. And remember, a lot of times at shows, people offer discounts and you don't have to pay for shipping. And I also want to say that a lot of live sewing shows have closed or have been discontinued because of the lack of attendance. And I just want to say that, you know, as soon as all the shows are over and every show is now gotten so small that people can't afford to hold them, people will be sad that there's no live shows. So make sure you support live shows, especially if they're in your area. So that's just a blanket thing that I'm seeing because I teach at a lot of things, and a lot of the things I used to teach at are now no longer, like the Sew Expo in Novi that Janet Prey used to do. You know, it's discontinued, and it's just very sad because that was like my favorite show. So we need everyone to come to these things to keep them alive. So the next big show I'm going to be at after this fabric fiber craft is Pattern Con. If you haven't heard about Pattern Con, I'm going to put a link in the description below when I get off. There are still tickets. It's an amazing sewing event. It's going to be the first weekend in August 1st and 2nd in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's where I will be after this show for my next show. So that's what I want to say about that. So there you are, and thank you so much. Oh, Elizabeth says brilliant. Barbara says, well, oh wow, love it. Diane says love it. I think it's Loretta, Mr. Flume. Loretta says love it too. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for the wishes for my trip. I'm driving. I'm gonna take my time. It's gonna be fine. I'm excited. I just need to get everything in the car, so I gotta go. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in 2 weeks for Fab Fit Friday on Friday. All right? I'll share behind the scenes from my trips on my other platforms, Instagram and Facebook. So check out over there if you want to, you know, get peeks of what I'm doing. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and happy Saturday. Bye.